Aaron, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Denise. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Great.
Perfect.
Hear me, Denise?
Dave, Craig? Jeff, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I've got you.
Okay. Let's see. Hi, Brian.
Hi Denise, how are you?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
And you
Good.
can
Look at Dave Cravens making an
start
appearance.
video,
There he is. Yep.
and there you are.
Oh, hi, Craig. See you now.
Hi, Denise.
Yeah, turn light on.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Is this Dan?
Can you see okay?
Okay, I see Steve.
Hi, Dan's here.
Okay, got you, Dan.
Hey,
Okay.
Dan.
Hello.
Need some light, don't you?
Am I the only one that is out and about in this?
I was gonna say,
Weather.
you think you're from a vehicle.
Let me just
Oh,
turn
I'm
that light
driving.
off.
I'm driving and doing the meeting at the same time.
Oh, goodness. Be
I'm
careful.
joking.
You wanna
Oh.
watch it?
Joking.
Yeah.
I'll see.
Our daughter couldn't get to work, so we had to drive her.
Okay. Okay, hi, Lynn.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good.
Good. Are you staying warm?
Yes, it's good to be home.
Where were you?
in this weather. Well, I went in, we were open till 2 today, so I got home at 3, but
Oh,
my husband, he was my taxi. He's got a truck, so that was
Perfect.
easy. Yes, worked out great.
perfect.
He's,
Is it just the two of us on here?
no, we've got a big crew here. I see Brian Slicks joined, he's in, and Brian Williams and Aaron Burris from the park.
How can I
And
see who's on here?
Uh,
Oh,
if you could see the video up at the top, sometimes it's on the right or left.
participants?
Uh-huh.
Okay, got it.
Let's see here. Looks like we also have Lisa Floyd and Marissa Skaggs.
Lisa's in Florida. That's not fair,
Oh, lucky her.
right?
Let's see, we'll go ahead and. I don't see Scott yet.
I don't know if she knows I'm here or not.
Yeah, Mike, I see you. Do you hear us?
Yes.
Hi, Mike.
Hello.
So as you hit that mute,
Oh,
then they
it's
won't hear
frozen.
you, okay? If you want to just block out the outside noise.
I cloned this.
Denise, was Scott planning on attending?
He was, he went home. He was plowing last night and this afternoon.
Mhm.
Let me text him real quick.
I talked to him today. He said he was going to be on.
Yeah.
You can give him another minute to
Okay.
go up.
I
How's
think
Lisa
all the members are here.
How's Lisa doing, Craig?
Well, she's doing fine.
She's in warm weather, right?
It was 69 degrees there today, I believe.
Nice.
Craig, I sent him a text real quick.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll give him a minute here and then we'll get going. He can jump in
Okay.
whenever,
Yeah,
when he gets to it. I'm sure he's had a long day.
yes.
I shoveled a driveway and you can't even tell I did anything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, to keep everybody on schedule, why don't we get going? Scott, I'm sure Scott will pop in
Yeah.
in a minute.
Okay, yeah,
It's 2:02. We'll call the meeting to order. The February meeting for the Redevelopment Commission. Let's do a roll call to determine quorum. So membership, I'll start. Craig Campbell here. Dave? Here. Steve?
Here.
Michael?
Here.
Daniel?
Here.
Craig Scott
Yeah.
is now on.
Ah, yes, there he is. Lynn?
Here.
Very good. So we have everybody here and we have a quorum. We've been joined with Scott. Hi, Scott, and Marissa Skaggs. Hi, Marissa. Aaron, welcome. Jeff, how you doing? And Brian Williams. So that's the crew. Or that's all I see anyway. So election of officers.
Would you like for me to do the president part, Mr. Campbell?
That'd be great. Thank you.
We have 3 officers tonight to appoint a president, a vice president, and a secretary. The president presides over meetings. The vice president will be in his stead. If he cannot be at a meeting, the president also executes some of the documents for the commission, as does the secretary. Saying that, are there any nominations for president of the Pendleton Redevelopment Commission?
I would like to nominate the fine gentleman from Main Street, Craig Campbell.
Nomination for Mr. Campbell. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor of Mr. Campbell as president of the Pendleton Redevelopment Commission in 2022, say aye.
Hi.
Mr. President, congratulations. You can take the helm.
Thank you. It's seldom that I'm called a gentleman, so thank you. Do we have a nomination for vice president? Currently vice president, I believe, is Mr. Steve Denny.
I would like to nominate Steve Denny.
Do we have any other nominations for vice president? Hearing none. Do we have let's take a vote. Everybody in favor of Steve Denny remaining as vice president of the RDC, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none. Congratulations, Steve.
Thank
Vice
you all.
President. And then it's Jeff, it's treasurer or secretary? It's treasurer, isn't it?
It's secretary, sir.
Secretary, I'm sorry. It's currently Lynn, I believe.
Yes.
Do we have any other nominations for secretary? Or any nominations for secretary?
I would nominate Lynn for secretary.
Thank you, Dave. Do we have any other nominations? Hearing none. Let's take a vote. Everybody in favor of Lynn being renominated as secretary of the RDC, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Congratulations, Lynn. Just what you wanted.
Yep.
All right. Election of officers is out of the way. Thank you all for your work on the RDC and for coming to the meetings and everything. Appreciate it. Approval of the meeting minutes. Did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes from our last meeting, which was November, I believe?
Yes.
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 Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as written from the last meeting?
Motion.
Second.
So, but
We got a motion from Dave Cravens and a second from Lynn Mellinger. All in favor of accepting the minutes as written, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, we will accept the minutes as written from the last meeting. Very good. Old business. We have no old business to report, which is good, I think. New business. request for proposal, qualifications for the aquatic center. Scott, you want to take this?
Yes, thank you. I'm going to do this from my phone because the kids are taking up all my bandwidth, as you so the reason I need to come before you is that we're putting together a request for qualifications, request for proposals and qualifications to be a build, own, and maybe transfer an aquatic center. As you know, the high school pool is 50 years old, Brown pool is 40 years old, and
Something so you could see it.
Okay.
and so the thought is to consolidate that. They're to an aquatic center with both an outdoor and an indoor pool that the high school can use, that the recreational swimmers can use in the summer, the swim club could use, and even LaPel Frankton School Corporation is interested in also using it for their high school and junior high swim teams. So in this proposal, and I'll go over it here in concept, I think you've got a draft version digitally, but in the proposal, it says that the town will offer up a choice of 2 pieces of land. Of course, they can always buy their own, but it'll be a 99-year lease. Whoever the builder owner is would own the building and the pool, but the grounds would be retained by the town. And those 2 spots are, one is the existing pool site and plus the grounds between the pool and the where the Frisbee golf is, there between Huntsville Road and the pool. And that is sort of a tight squeeze. They could use the advantage if the winning proposal, if they chose that site, they could use a lot of the existing outdoor pool accommodations. The bad thing is that a lot of it is under a floodplain, and it can only be certain area can only be used for parking. So they might not have enough space. And I think it's roughly 7 acres plus or minus. But the second place is ground out at the industrial park, Towns Industrial Park. And it would be the ground of roughly 10 acres just south of the existing wellness center, between the solar park and the wellness center. And so because that is going to be offered as an option, of course, I need to bring that through the RDC to make sure you're okay with it. Now, we don't need to take action today, but maybe at your next meeting, we probably would need to do that. But here's how the proposal works. It's sort of unique, and if you've not been exposed to it, it may seem unusual. But Indiana has build, own, transfer laws, which allow private entities to build and own and transfer upon completion of the construction or after a certain time period. This proposal says that you could do those 2 options, or you can maintain ownership of the facilities that you build and finance, but the town maintains the ground. And our hope is that by guaranteeing certain income, one from the South Madison School Corporation, right now what's on the table is $100,000 a year for 20 years. The park for 20 years, $60,000 a year, and that's to subsidize recreational swimming during the summer and to keep the rates low. The swim club would guarantee, not guarantee, but have a membership. We think roughly it'll grow to at least 200, maybe even a potential of surrounding the bigger swim clubs around the area, 400 or 500 kids, and they would pay $10 a month, and then they would be able to go up with inflation. Frankton LaPel Franklin School Corporation wants to also,
They're gonna see you drinking.
They can't see me now.
Hey, Mike, could you mute your microphone, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
okay.
Go on,
All right.
Scott.
And then, what they're interested in do for a 15-year, at a little bit lesser rate than South Madison School Corporation. And then the private entity would, be able to do whatever they can do to make money, make it profitable. But by offering those guaranteed incomes for a specified time, it lowers the risk, lowers their interest rates, makes it more attractive. And of course, they can make, they'll make, at a minimum, make money off the gate for recreational swim. If you've ever gone to Goldfish, where they have a warm pool, which we intend to have in this aquatic center, it is incredibly lucrative to do swimming lessons, warm pools. I know the one in Fishers that I took my kids to, from the minute school's out until 9 o'clock at night, there's 30 kids I think they were swim lessons 40 minutes or something like that. And of course, a warming pool, people who'd like to do water aerobics and that sort of thing. So anyway, the intent is to not for the town to take on any more debt, but yet have the advantage of an aquatic center going beyond what the swimming facilities we have here now at the high school, which is indoor, round pool, which is outdoor. I could surely imagine and in fact, in the RFP, I think we say that they have to have recreational swim in the full 3 months. Right now, we only have it 2. I'm sure they would have expanded hours. I've consulted with one attorney that knows a little bit about this, and then an architect that's familiar with it. I do believe the schedule, although the RFP doesn't reflect this, I think we need to expand their must-have completed by date, actually give them an extra year because of the lack of supplies. If we make the timeline too restrictive, then it might not be feasible because they'll have to pay the extra prices to get supplies on time. So under this schedule, the one I'm about ready to revise, not the version you have right now, but the new schedule will probably, Brown Pool will have to make it through 2 more summers, which I've talked to Donnie Myers about. He thinks that's feasible. I haven't talked to the school yet about revising the schedule if they can keep their pool open for 2 more winters. But anyway, that's the plan. I plan to hopefully put out the RFP in maybe 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and which initially is behind schedule, I admit, if Brian Williams is online. But it's to our advantage, I think, to expand the schedule. So anyway, with that, I open up to questions on the concept or how it would work with the land if that build own, the successful proposal uses the ground out of there at the industrial park.
Scott, this is Lynn. I have a question. So if we were voting on something tonight, what would we be voting on? Like,
well,
we want to move forward with the location or this plan?
I think, well, Jeff, basically it would be that the RDC would have, it would be a resolution. Jeff,
So
are
I
you
think effectively you'd just be asking the RDC to issue and bless the plan that's in front of us here today. There may be a couple things we would have to do in the meantime.
in concept? Yeah, they would have to accept it in concept. But I don't.
What
I
we would
didn't.
have to do, if you notice in Scott's plan there's a the funding that would come from the town would be through any TIF that the redevelopment commission would receive.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so there would be an abatement on the improved, the improvements to that ground.
Scott,
Got
are you picturing that to be a standard abatement, a 10-year rolling off?
Yes,
And so the town's TIF, and I think that's in the economic development area, and it would be put, if it's not already, into the TIF district. The RDCs, this is a classic TIF incentive in which the money would be pledged, whatever money that the town would receive. And that can be determined. The assessor is usually really good at helping communities with this kind of thing, but all that would be determined in part of the financing. The developer would know that would be a stream of income that would go to him to allow him to pay for any debt that would be incurred to create the thing. But our redevelopment commission and the town council would have to agree that the TIF money would be pledged toward this project. But like Scott just said, it would not involve, the way this is written, no actual debt for the town.
yeah, and Lynn, I didn't intend to come for there to be any official action tonight. In fact, I don't know if we can because we're 100% Zoom. But I don't think we'd really I need to throw it out there and see if there's any reservations about it, that if we need to go back to the drawing board, because really there's no action by the RDC until we have a winning proposal and we're ready to go into negotiations with them over the contract.
Okay, thank you.
But
So-
Scott, how important or detrimental is it that the RDC gives the blessing to use the ground out by the wellness center instead of Brown Pool area? Because it sounds like the wellness center is going to be a better location for it in my mind.
Yes.
I agree.
And we need to say, yeah, we're good with the use of that land, correct?
Right. But I don't think at this point, I need to bring it before you. I can't release this proposal.
Right.
Having brought it before you or and at least vetted it to make sure that there wasn't some reservations,
Sure.
improvements is suggested.
I do have one other question. Who is responsible for maintaining both pools, indoor, outdoor, the facility, whatever that's going to be, once it's done? Is it the town's responsibility or the?
It'll be, they'll operate it, they'll build and operate.
Good.
And then part of the proposal asks if they are proposing a transfer at some certain point, we need to know what that is. And if they hold the pool, if their plan is to own the pool more than 20 years, then they have to have a 40-year, give us their 40-year sustainability plan.
Excellent.
Dan
Hey,
Maddox.
Scott, sorry. Sorry, go ahead, Dan.
Throw in my 2 cents. I think it's a good proposal, and I think it's a complementary use to the tennis center, and I would be supportive of proceeding and exploring it.
Okay, thank you.
I agree,
Hey,
Dan.
hey, Scott, Steve Denny. I might have missed this. How many acres out there by the wellness center and the solar panels?
I think there's roughly 10 usable acres.
Okay. And my last question is there an opinion from since Brian Williams is on board, is there opinion from the park board regarding location?
I have
Yeah.
met, okay,
I'm sorry, Scott.
no, go ahead.
Yes, we've talked about it, Steve, and Brown Pool is certainly on its last leg, and we've been saying that for about 3 years now. So we all know that it's already outlived its life expectancy. But ideally for us, the aquatic center ends up out by the wellness center, and we have an offer from a private business to fund a splash pad, and that's been out there for a couple of years ago, or for a couple of years now. We haven't moved on it for a variety of reasons, but that's still out there. So ideally for the park, the pool, the aquatic center ends up out by the wellness center, and then we end up with a splash pad where the current pool is.
Okay, that'd be awesome. Okay, thank you.
I
So
guess
Scott-
a question for Scott. Does it even make sense to offer the brown pool as an option for this? That's something we have to do, or?
No. It could be dropped. The only reason that my initial thoughts are to offer that is because it might be a less expensive, because there's already an existing pool, and they would probably just have to refurbish the plumbing and the shell. It's 2 lanes. We'd like to go to 10 lanes. It's only 8 lanes right now, but the minimum specifications for the outdoor pool is that it's 50 meters, and it exists as 50 meters.
Right. Will the new facility, does the proposal require that there is also at least a 25-yard pool for inside swimming in the
Yeah.
wintertime?
The inside pool specs will actually be 50 meters with a
Wow.
movable bulkhead, so that
Okay.
you can really move that bulkhead and make it 2 25-yard pools.
Fantastic.
Because the high school and junior high, the IFA is still 25 yards. And by having that with actually competitively 2 pools, you can have the swim club and the high school and the junior high can have very large invitational meets, which are lucrative for whoever operates it. And then if it's 10 lanes, you can actually, and this is true on the outdoor pool, if it's 10 lanes wide, it's wide enough that it's a 25-yard.
Dismiss that.
So you can swim, you can have your meets at 25 yards. They're just swimming sideways across the pool, if you can imagine what I'm saying.
Right. That's fantastic. So what else do you need from us, Scott, on this?
I just need to throw it out there and see if there's any objection to it. And we can move forward. If you feel, Mr. Chair, that we need to take some action, I don't think tonight we're prepared to, but the next meeting we could.
No, I agree. I think this is a fantastic idea. This would save me a lot of time and headache driving to IUPUI to swim.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
It'd be inhumane if we didn't have if we didn't have a swimming facility
Agreed.
and couldn't learn how to swim. I just think it's a life skill, and it's inhumane for a community that kind of provides something like this to not have swimming facilities.
Well, and what a great asset to the wellness center also.
Well, yeah, I mean, compliments. I mean, it could be that I do know the people that own the wellness center are very interested in responding to the RFP. But it could be somebody else that does it. I don't know if I mentioned it, but the architects are telling me that this facility with everything we want will be 20 to 25 million. So it is pricey. So we need to make it attractive so that whoever does this can make some profit.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I mean, Scott, I think when you think about creating a community where people want to live and sense of place, and these are the kind of attractions that are going to separate those from the winners from the losers. So I think it's a great idea.
Well, thank you.
The last that you and I talked, I think the plan was to have one more meeting with all the potential stakeholders to go through this. Is that still the plan?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So the way the selection process right now that's in the proposal is that once we put it out on the street, then anybody who is putting money in the game, has skin in the game, will be on this committee. They will select their best number one proposal. Then town staff, Jeff Graham and I, will go into negotiations with them to work out the detail. Then each entity, the school corporation, the park, Franklin Lapel School Corporation, the swim club, and then the town will then also have an agreement with them. So that gives each entity to work out the details that they feel are important. And then once they have their individual agreement that they're going to be, guaranteeing participation for 20 years. I mean, it's nothing to sneeze at. Once those get worked out, then of course we'll have the master contract that'll be between the town and the number one selectee. Now, if negotiations fall apart, then we just go to whichever proposal was ranked number 2. And my hope is that we get at least 3. Guesses we'll get 4 or 5.
Fantastic. Do we have any other questions about this for Scott?
Just a comment from my view, I would be open to removing the brown pool as an option from the RFP if the group is open to that. It certainly isn't a requisite for my support of it, but if that's where we want it to go and we feel like that's the best suitable option, I think that's what we should ask for.
Agreed.
I
Agreed.
agree.
Green.
Okay, so the input is that you would like me to take the brown pool site out of contention.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, after what Brian Williams has said about the splash pad, I agree with that.
Okay. Well, that makes my life easy.
All right, we got anything else on this? Very good. Thank you, Scott. That's exciting. I hope we can make it work because it'll be excellent for the town of Pendleton.
Well, thanks.
Sure will. Thanks, Scott. Good job.
Welcome.
Yes, well done. All right, let's move on to the Falls Park presentation. I'm not sure who's going to do that. Is that you, Brian?
Yes,
Okay.
Aaron and Brian Slick are both on here, but so they could certainly chime in. But
Brian,
by way of-
Brian, excuse me for a minute. Denise, do we have something to put up for that? Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
By way of background, I've been on the park board for, I think, 8 or so years now, and consistently through the changing members on the park board over the years, the one thing that we've all agreed on consistently is that property acquisition for the park is always high on the priority list. We've always talked about certain properties that if they became available, we would certainly be interested in obtaining for the park. The property that we're here to talk to you about tonight is the property at 414 North Pendleton Avenue, which is currently Pets and Vets. There's 2 parcels of land, the building and the parking lot, and then the land is set forth on the screen currently. We had all agreed as members of the park board to send a few letters out to people who own property that we would be interested in if they ever became available. This property, I think, gets talked about more than any other piece of property for the park because it just makes sense that it would be park property given its location, sitting above the park. And a few months ago, I became aware that it was going up for sale. We got kind of kept it quiet for fear of someone swooping in and getting it. The 2 appraisals came back. That's what we're limited to as the park, is what we can offer. The 2 appraisals are done. The average of those is $457,500. My intention here this evening was to ask for the RDC to make up the difference on what the seller is asking and what we can actually offer. But I know Aaron reached out to Jeff Graham today, and Jeff informed Aaron that you all are limited also to the average of 2 appraisals. So I think we're all limited to what we can offer, and that is 457.5. Currently, the number that's out there from the seller is in the 525 range. I'm hoping, and I've been talking to her realtor about possibilities to get this done. We've talked about her continuing to lease the building for a very nominal amount each year. The park maintaining the building and the property through that time while she stays there. And so, you know, the park doesn't have any immediate intentions with the property. It's just one of those pieces of property that long-term we want to be park property so that we have options for it in the future. We don't have any intentions to do anything with it in the next 2 or 3 years, but 10 years from now and 20 years from now, I certainly would love for that to be park property. Aaron reached out today to the South Madison Community Foundation to see if they would have any interest in helping with the purchase. There is some interest there, but the timing isn't great, but there is some interest there. So my intention, like I said before, well, up until about 3 o'clock this afternoon, my intention was simply to ask the RDC to make up the difference so that we could get this deal done. From what Aaron said, from what Jeff told him today, I don't think that's really an option. So the park board, we scheduled a meeting for tomorrow. I expect everyone to vote in favor of this purchase if we can get it done. We have bond money available currently that we could pay the 457.5, but it would certainly reduce what we have available down to not much. So we can do it, but certainly with RDC as a partner, it would make things a little easier for the park if the RDC would commit to helping with the purchase price. I don't know what your appetite is for that. I have no idea what the possibilities are, but that's what we're asking for tonight is a commitment from RDC to help with the purchase. And we will continue to work with the seller to try to get this done. I think it's great for the town, great for the park if we can. So I don't have a specific number that I'm asking for tonight. Just I wanted to put that out there that obviously I think everyone wins if we end up with this, but currently we may need some help along the way. So that's where we are currently.
Brian, any clue on how much help you might need?
Well, and that's the question.
Even a ballpark figure?
Well, I really don't. I mean, you know, it's the park has limited funds. Like I said, we have the bond money available now that we could use, remaining from the bond we took in 2018. We could cover the 457, but like I said, it would reduce that amount that we have available down to not much left. Nobody, I don't think is going to be real wild about that, but we can do it if we have to. And I think ultimately the board would say, yes, this property is, we've talked about it for many, many years, that if we ever get the opportunity to get it, we should do it. You know, and obviously the fear is if we don't get it now, when is it ever going to be available again? So that's not really answering your question, Craig. I don't know what your guys' options are, what you have any appetite for in helping get this done. I just don't. So like I said, when the amount I thought was going to be 525, my plan was to ask for you guys to help with the difference. But listening to Jeff, I don't think that's an option at this point. So
well,
I'd leave that up to you.
Thank you, Brian. Jeff, what options do we have? Or do we
Brian
have
mentioned
any?
a couple ways to be creative on things like leases and things of that nature. I think that's probably the best way to look. The the thing that I have seen done in other communities is we just did a private public partnership type presentation that Mr. Reski put together, to have some kind of organization be the front man and then lease it back to the park at a rate that the park can absorb would be the optimal solution. But that's easy to say, but difficult to find. That partner may not be there. Absent that, there's a few other things that the civil town has a few possibilities. I'll have to talk to Brian and get the park's appetite for certain things. But, if there's a will, there's a way. It's a pretty big difference in price, but not insurmountable. So hopefully something can be done. And we all know that Brian can really negotiate. So let's be hopeful.
Well, and what's the
From my
rest of the?
perspective, the park sure feels like the logical user for this. And, I'm new to this RDC. So, understanding how we can help, I need to have a better understanding, but I'd certainly be supportive of helping the park, come up with some solution, because it sure makes sense long-term for this to be park property.
Agreed.
I'm 100% behind this, but I'm just concerned about the RDC's money cash flow right now, because I know we've got a lot of money committed to that road project for the next several years. Is that correct?
Yeah. So for the next 3 out of the 4 years, we have a negative cash flow. I think the last time I gave you a brief on the perspective over the next 20 years, which is really, it's only accurate out to about 5. We thought we were going to have another 200,000 coming in the first 200,000 coming in 2021 from the wellness center. Scott Reski didn't read the fine print, and the fine print said it starts in 2022. So we've got, off the top of my head, we've got over 300,000 in the fund, and assuming the 600,000 that we need for the US 3667 project, that happens in 20. They're saying they're going to do it next year, so 23 and 24. I split at 300 each of those years. Brings us down. The fund will come down to about 40,000 left, and then now it'll start recharging very quickly after that. But because of that US 36 project, I will tell you this, officially they want to do it next year, the construction, and then that's when we'll be on the hook for our share. I think that project's going to get delayed a year or 2, but at this point, in the pecking order is NDOT, then MCOG, which is Madison County's MPO, and then Pendleton. So you can imagine we don't have a lot of control over this project.
We discussed that in the last meeting, and we certainly don't want to get in deep water where they come along and say, no, we're ready to go. But I agree with you, Scott. I think it's going to be delayed at least a year. And maybe 2. Now, again, we don't want to put money out there that we can't rake back when it's time to go on that. But can we get any other commitment from all those folks as to when this might go for sure?
No, we're waiting on some. We need it as a town. We need it to actually delay. They're doing some historic studies, and the Jimmy's Berry Bar is the issue. Believe it or not, the sign there is historic. And if it's ruled historic, which we're waiting for, then the project will definitely be delayed for a year. So there's we could spend 2 hours on this, the problems with this project, but One of them is that if MCOG can't come up with their 80%, then the town is on the hook for 3 million and not 600,000. But a lot of that construction we can delay for several years. But some of it has to be in conjunction when NDOT does their construction.
So in the end, there might be some money available to help out.
Yeah, there might be, but we're not going to know
Okay.
until that study gets done. They're probably 30 to 60 days from letting us know.
Well, and I don't think we need a firm commitment tonight. I just, like I said, I certainly don't want someone to swoop in and buy it out from under us. So I certainly wanted to make a presentation to you all to at least so you know the background, know where we are, and I understand what everybody's saying, but if the plan is you guys can help, if you can, you guys want to help if you can, then at least I know, and we can present that to the park board tomorrow and continue our negotiations with the seller.
If I could, one more interjection. And this is Jeff Graham's suggestion, is that we look at expanding the TIF territory too. I don't know, Jeff, if you want to go into what that would take, but
Yeah,
there is an area that we ought to look at.
Yeah, there are several areas in the town that would be ripe for a expansion of both the economic development area and the TIF. And I hinted at that to President Campbell, but I think there's going to be a few of those things we want to do this year and be aggressive. Keep in the back of the mind that, there's always a tension between TIF money and what that does to other taxing district, and the one that gets brought up most is the public schools. We do have the ability to pledge up to 15% to schools for educational programs, but there's some obvious growth areas right now in the town that are not in your TIF district or our TIF district, and we've got to pluck those, because that's going to be that's the future of this RDC. It kind of becomes a snowball, rolls downhill, and allows when we want to be a financial partner with the park board or someone else, it gives us a lot more pop. So that you'll be seeing, at least I'll be asking if you want to expand the economic development area in the TIF district to areas of obvious future expansion.
Would be a good thing for us to look at.
I think the TIF district expansion, when you realize the potential growth of Pendleton and how fast our growth rate is going to be, it's a no-brainer that we need to be aggressive and maybe expand the TIF district.
Yeah, the timing seems right.
Well, so let me ask this, so Brian knows what to take back to his board at least. Is the RDC in favor of this? If there is something we can do financially to help them, are we in favor of helping them with this project? I would say yes.
I would be supportive.
I would make a motion. We try to help.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Very good. We have a motion and a second to help if we can with the park board to purchase this piece of property. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Brian, I don't know if that helps you or not.
Well, it certainly does. So I know what to tell the park board tomorrow, that, it's certainly, there's a lot of moving parts right now with the negotiations, but this certainly helps knowing we have your support. So I appreciate it very much.
Brian, I think it'd be important to, as you go through negotiation, know exactly what our shortfall is to be able to help you close the deal on that land.
I agree. So
Very good.
I will keep you all posted, and hopefully we can get this done sometime soon.
Very
Thanks,
good.
Brian.
All right. Thank you all. Thank you all very much for your time tonight.
Thanks, Brian.
All right. See you all.
All right, that was all on our agenda. Do we have anything else that we need to discuss or any questions, or comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion.
Do I
I'll
have a-
second.
We got a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? Didn't think so. Thank you all very much. Appreciate your help. Stay warm.
Have a good evening, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. See you soon.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Denise.
Bye, thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Thanks, Denise.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good night.